The upgrading in hormones is something that man has attempted to synthetically create from the external world, which we call medicine, and replacing and things like that we do as PhD doctors or chemists. However, within our body we have everything, and when we undergo changes, not necessarily menopause or puberty or all these things, similar to puberty, yes, we enter into this other hormone. Our hormones change, our blood changes, we ignite from within, this surging, it awakens us. The awakening is that Kundalini experience, that we feel that surge, that ignition when it happens, and it fires up all the way our spinal column. It's a nervous system experience, and so when that happens, it burns everything. And sometimes we might not be totally adjusted to it, or this is the key, okay? If we're open to our feelings and there's no resistance or any kind of blockage with thoughts, then we can undergo the changes from carbon to crystalline. If not, we must transmute, because if we try to chop one head off from this person or transform in such a way that we do it temporarily, it'll grow 3, it'll grow 4. Meaning that if we get someone to help us, and they're not really helping us, and they're just not enabling us to catch our own fish or what have you, or through contradictions of paradox, or somehow to get you thinking in confusion to find your way. If you don't, what ends up happening, you cut the monster's head off, but then 4 grow back. So the hormonal changes that I'm describing are, yes, it's not just men that have the testosterone. Women too have it. However, there's this thing of force in this physical world that we experience due to the beating of our heart, the circular system, and the other 12 systems, of course. There's a lot of harmonious balance, that just a light, especially when it goes to the deeper genetic levels, just that little bit can make a huge difference rippling out externally. So depending on how deep that is, or that trauma, or that mutation, that's how we learn to change it. And we can when we change from carbon to crystalline. And these changes start happening very subtle, and if the thing is, again, I'll go back to it. Open heart. You can be asleep and have an open heart. How else will it start? Yes, it does. It starts from that sexual, primal, feminine, if you want to call it, you can. And it starts from that Kundalini spirit. Because the spirit, we have body, mind, spirit, soul connection. So like I was saying, the figure 8s are there for a reason, right? And then they create one torque field, but then there's another one, as above, so below. And that creates another torque field, which invariably creates, if you want to call it that way, this is why the cross was so important for resurrection when we die, because the worlds collapse and then the soul becomes, the oversoul. That's a different topic. Here it is about hormones, how they refine and they change. Our whole system changes. And if anything is off balance, just a touch, or we have still toxicity or whatever it is, our nervous system cannot cope with on the physical level, because we're so connected. If there's a disconnection in any kind of way, meaning our heart's closing for some traumatic issue or something that it is, and our thoughts start taking over and processing the judgments that we have for each other in this world, is that external mirror that we have, the greater whole morphogenic field that everybody has and we all connect to somehow. That has to be worked from within. And what that is all these little things that we have to work through, the work that we all must do as a collective. And so that's how we're all connected in this big way of whatever, we all have similarities and variations and variables to these traumas and whatever it is that we must think and not feel. It's these programs, okay? And as soon as we start thinking and stop feeling, it doesn't matter even if we're not enlightened. What happens is our heart closes, the system starts closing down, and it won't give it a chance to, even if that ignition happened, which it can, through sexual experiences, like really good ones, not traumatic ones, but, to the level where you can actually, through breath and through that rhythm and beat, the heart, that bonding, that you can actually get through the kundalini and the heart. So that's the root chakra in the heart, okay, and the soul, and that sparks it up and wakes it up. But you have to have an open heart. You can't start like judging all of a sudden, or the moment you feel fear or doubt or insecurity. So what I was wanting to talk to about, wasn't like, look at me and things. I guess these are continuations because I can't stand it. There's so much to continuously add to this testosterone thing. Sexually, eventually, it becomes more refined. And it's an orgasmic explosion when it does happen. That ignition, that fire that you feel, that sensation, similar to, I don't know, I can describe it through hospitalizations, how people have experimented with their vascular system and sticking things in to see their heart and, those kind of tests, and they feel that burning. That's the same kind of burning, but it's more of an orgasmic burning, and it just ignites, and it happens through, first of all, the opening of that sexual doorway, and it goes up, and the heart must be open, and that's how you ignite, and then you go into the higher aspect of enlightenment. So yes, these are important that I was talking about. And yes, we have other symbols, like the not the pentacle, but the Kabbalah, not the Kabbalah, the Merkaba. I was thinking, okay, they're not religious. These religions, whatever they did, and they fixed them, because there was an importance to these symbols for some reason. Okay, the Merkaba, okay, if you want to look at it this way, right? It doesn't just have to be a female or a male. It's the Bermuda Triangle, right? And you can get lost in it, or you can find yourself within, starts from the breast, nipples to the pussy, or the dick, whatever. I couldn't, okay, that's ignorant. But no, I'm just saying it in a very basic, whatever way. And then that is that we're the soul, right? The soul, and that is like a Bermuda Triangle kind of thing. But then we have the other triangle that goes this way, and that is the higher self when you ignite into enlightenment. But then you get as above, so below, right? And then you notice these, right? As above, so below, but then there's the other four realities, the other four. Okay, you can do the same with a pentacle, right? But then you need that circle. It's okay, so these are geometrics that I can describe another time. I'm getting at is these hormones are very important, that they all happen like synergistically, and for synchronization to start taking place in your world, everything has to be synergistically, and you have to be really truly ready for it. This is why we start off with the chakra systems. and into the 12, meaning the systems that your body actually has. And these are groupings, these are villages, they're tribes within us, and they're getting along just great. And from a cellular level to an organ level, and the secretion of these chemicals, eventually what happens is these hormones become more refined, and sometimes some of them aren't even needed anymore, so they adapt and they become something else, like that higher activation from the pineal and pituitary gland that gets activated, and you become opulent, like they say, the third eye and the crown, and it becomes one whole. You become a creator God being. And so, yes, I mean, like, there must have been something in the mythologies that was saying the gods are coming down and impregnating human women and things like that. So all these little things that you think, well, yes, we were undergoing a change, and yes, these are possible, but what all this means to me is something to do with maybe something that we're going into another species, we're evolving. And we're going to find that through these changes that have been happening, they don't happen overnight. They could have started from, they're just little transitions as we go, as a collective we're ready to deal with. And if we think that artificial intelligence and whatever recreations that we do can help us, by all means, yes. And as far as alien intervention and these higher gods and all these things, they're all us. They're within us. So all these changes is just to adapt into becoming more pristine, more evolved. I don't even know if we're going to be called humans anymore. So, the humans. Okay, so I don't know if I even said anything about the testosterone, and that is the importance of the testosterone to get us started, is that sexual thing that will wake us up. It will help us, but not if we have our hearts closed. It will still keep us down into that lower density, ego-driven world that, is like, oh, okay. Our soul will end up not really expanding in that sense, that we will keep going round and round in circles, and that wheel of karma and things like that. The evolution is to transmute and transcend beyond that karmic wheel, and when we can do that, then we can transfigure back into the worlds we want, that we can be creator type beings. And so these things about shortcuts and trying to do it from the external world through the synthetic type things, that's creating a third world kind of thing, or eventually we're going to have to totally leave the old world into a new world. But then there's also this artificial intelligence and artificial recreations that man thinks he's going to become obsoleted because women are the creators and they're not as valuable in the new world and all these things. So they've created a middle kind of thing, and they think they can take shortcuts, or we think because I have testosterone in me too, and I have this, we're all one. So however we present ourselves is okay. So this thing about transgender and transhumanism and transgenderism, there are no shortcuts. So if you want to try and get more testosterone and, get a sex change or whatever it is, your agreement was to come into this body to be as you are, so that you can help the world and expand and grow. So whatever mutilations you're going to be doing, know that it's not going to be a shortcut, because, okay, so I'm in this body right now. I could have been stillborn like 2 years, 3 years before I was born again, because I was a boy or something, and my mother was too young to have me, so then she had another boy, and then she had me, or something like that. But that doesn't mean that, okay, maybe I did have that change or chance. But once you're here, that means you're really here. It means that you decided to experience the life like this and help others through this variation of who you are, that authentic you. So if you think that you're going to get along better, or there's shortcuts by getting, testosterone, because all of a sudden you think your manhood's not there anymore, all it means is that you got to open up your heart, and it'll be a different kind of more empowering and more a better orgasmic thing that you've never could ever possibly imagine or can even grasp at this level, that you're synthetically injecting yourself with testosterone, thinking you got to keep yourself down there because you got to stay up or something like that. And so, and for women who are doing that, know that collectively you're holding us back. That resistance of being a woman is like holding the rest of the collective back in that resistance. And then we have that other balance to balance it off with the men who want to be women because they want to get it started. They just want to get it started. And that creates another off balance of men who actually hate strong women or feel intimidated by them and gang in the brotherhood and keep them out like they're crazy or criminal and shut them out and lock them up. The other balance, counterbalance to that, is the transgendered men who want to become these women. But there are no shortcuts. So, just go with it, but try not to hurt yourself too badly in the process of all these programs. The best thing for us all is to remove all the programs. And because there's just so many gurus, so many spiritual teachers and all these things, and if you can't afford it, then you're going to be out of the loop. And you won't really know. You'll have to self-teach yourself through all this, thing. You got to find your own, like I have had. And then, and we learn from our mistakes, and we learn together, and, so not everybody has that kind of comfort of wealth to do those things, and so, so, okay, and I think I'm going to leave it at that. And so with these, okay, you can be a strong woman in a man's body. It's okay. And you can reflect that. And if you want a man, it's okay. You can be partner up with a man. If you want a woman, you can partner up with a woman. It's the society that needs to open up their hearts more and accept each other in a loving, less judgmental, less, trying to fit us all into some kind of stereotypical role-playing box. Okay, so let's just accept ourselves for what we decided to come in as. Seriously, okay? This is what we decided, dead set against it, for it. That we must, there's no, I'm changing my mind now. No, because if that was the case, then something would happen and it would be without suicide. But this is something your higher selves have decided to do. So by deciding you're going to take a shortcut and become a woman and become that strong woman, and then to be with someone like me, because I'm looking for my own reflection too, because I'm looking for someone who is more of me, I guess. to become partnered up with and live out a happy life, sharing each other's love and things like that. I understand, guys, where you're coming from. However, don't let these hormones intimidate us and try and make us something that we're not, or try to be something. Let's just go with our healing, opening up our heart, transmuting all the trauma. I have a book. It's called The Silver Light, A Course in Metaphysical Spirituality. Maybe it might help you. And if you need more help, reach out to me. I can further help. Thank you.